This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, hello, everyone. It's another great day at AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. And back again, as I love to have every so often, is the amazing, awesome, off-the-wall, innovative, intuitive, and really topical Joan Stewart. And we're going to be talking about some variations of publicity and bringing it into how do you pitch yourself? I mean, really directly pitch yourself and really taking advantage of what's going on in the news today. And certainly in the past week, there was just a huge virtual global chatter about the situation at the zoo with the child and the gorilla. So I think we're going to probably top it off, kicking off with some of those things. But it's just really, how do you pitch yourself? So you may think, wait a minute, I don't write about gorillas. I don't write about animals. I don't write about, but there are ways to kind of coattail things that would get a producer's attention. And that's what Joan is so extraordinarily good at doing. And just really, especially with hot seats with people. And we're going to be hot seating some ideas during this hour today. So it's really 10 things to pitch instead of your book. So we're talking about you and your expertise, I think, is we're going to narrow down to. So let's welcome Joan to the show. Hi, Joan. How are you?
I'm fine, Judith. It's always great to be back with you.
It is, I'm so excited because, everyone, Joan is going to be, two things Joan's going to be at. So we want to bring them to your attention. She will be one of the featured speakers at the AuthorU Extravaganza, and that the website within the website will be up any day now. So you want to tap into that. But she'll be doing two great programs. And then, of course, there is the Publishing at Sea, which is in January of next year, and we'll be doing a special webinar at the end of the month that you want to tap into. So Joan and I will bring your attention to those as we have those. But right now we're going to talk about publicity and for you and your book without being a blatant pitcher for your book. Right, Joan?
Absolutely, because we're sick of hearing by my book. Right?
And maybe your book. You're right.
Exactly.
And Joan, what is it that authors, it's almost like when they have a book, it just kind of gurgles out of their mouth, that constant, my book and that. And, one of the things I learned, just as a sidestep, when I did so many Phil Donahue shows during his time run. And that one of the things the producer said to me, do not mention your book. Do not mention the title of your book. Trust Phil. He will do that.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the quickest way to not get invited back, is to mention your book.
Yeah, they said, the consequence is the hook will come off. The hook will come out, and you will be off the show.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
So I learned really early in the game. So, all right. So let's just really kind of jump into that. So we could be talking about a holiday, or we could talk about a problem in the news, like I mentioned, the gorilla issue. We could be talking about any of the national statistics. I mean, God, with what's going on in the political scene, there's got to be something for everybody right now. It could be a crazy holiday. It could be a goofiness of a celebrity, whether it's good or bad news. Where can we go with this?
Let's start with what I think is the very best way of all the things that you mentioned. And I've got this one right at the top of my list, and it's called newsjacking. And the word newsjacking was actually created by a PR guy, David Meerman Scott, And it simply means injecting your own ideas and your commentary into a hot breaking news event. So let's do the story that broke over the weekend of the little 4-year-old kid who fell into the pit with the gorilla at the Cincinnati Zoo. That's a great opportunity to newsjack that story. Okay, let me give you a couple of examples of how authors can do that. If you happen to be a therapist, maybe who's written a book on therapy, Monday morning quarterbacking has become an international sport. So has blame, and everybody's trying to place blame and talking about the right decision that they would make. They wouldn't have killed the gorilla. That's a great topic for therapists to piggyback onto. Also, leadership coaches. If you've written a book on leadership, what factors go into a leader having to make a split-second decision that could mean the difference between life and death for a human being? In this case, the little boy. Okay? Then there's the issue of the parents, okay? There are people coming down on them. Parenting experts, how easy is it? I don't know that I would blame the parents, but parenting experts, you all know how easy it is to lose a child, whether you're at a supermarket or a bookstore or an amusement park or wherever. And so what are some ways that you can, maybe have empathy with these parents? If you're an expert in PR, how's the zoo handling the crisis? I think they're handling it wonderfully because they came out right away during the press conference and talked about why they made the decision they made. I can tell you, Judith, I had this in my newsletter yesterday, and I got some pushback by one of my readers who said, she said she thought my ideas were tasteless. They were off the mark, and she thought better. She would have thought better of me for suggesting them. And to those people, I say, you know what? If you don't want to tap into these kinds of stories to get publicity as an author, would you please move out of the way? Just move over to the side, because there's a whole line of people behind you who would love to get into the limelight for a story like this one.
Joan, I had a client who wrote a wonderful book, and they could never get off the dime to promote it. It's 10% is right in the book. It's the 90% that's marketing and promotion. You and I both know that. Yeah. And it was called When Crisis Strikes: What to Do, What to Say, How to Help. And they had so many awesome. Every time I saw somebody's house burned down. I mean, I was into the newsjack. I mean, I've always been a fan of newsjacking. To if a tornado hit, when Gabby was shot, down in Arizona, there are so many people want to help. They want to reach out. They just want to maybe share words, but they don't know what to say, how to do it, how to do any of that. And I said, all you have to do is exactly what you're talking about, and they couldn't do it. It doesn't mean that you're cold and disheartened, or it doesn't mean that at all. You're saying, I've got some ideas that might help the pain that these parents are feeling. Whether whatever side of the fence you're on, they are feeling horrendous pain. Yeah, you can't tell me that they're not.
Exactly. So newsjacking, think about how you can piggyback onto a hot story in the news. And you know what? These stories aren't perfect for all authors, Judith. As you know, you've got to have a good tie-in. You have to have a logical tie-in.
Yeah. There's no question. But it's bringing your expertise. So as you were saying, you've got the therapists that you can help here. You've got parenting experts that might give some ideas on things that when you have. I mean, I actually am a parent who lost a child in a big store. And it was my little guy, and I for 5 seconds, all of a sudden, where in the hell did Frank go? That, because the little kids, their eyeballs get the attention, and I don't care how great a parent you think you are, and I was a great parent, that they have roller skates underneath their feet. That's all I'm telling you. These kids can move incredibly fast.
Yep. Okay, can we go on to the next one?
You bet.
Advice to a celebrity. People love celebrity news. The celebrity magazines, the circulation is skyrocketing. Give advice to celebrities. Fashion experts. What do you have to tell Kim Kardashian? There's enough out there on her for you fashion experts to have plenty of fun with. Here's one. What about advice to Jeff Bezos on 10 things to fix that drive us crazy on Amazon? I think Amazon is so damn confusing. And you know this from you hear the same gripes from your authors who you work with. Give him advice on 10 things that you think he needs to fix right now on Amazon.
Oh, I'd start with search inside the book.
Yeah.
I've been trying for a month to load something up. It's been a disaster. It has been a freaking disaster, and I can't talk with anyone but a robot.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another one. Here's another one. Go to nationalenquirer.com and Star Magazine have more celebrities behaving badly than you can. They'll keep you busy for the rest of your life. And I love nationalenquirer.com. I'm a fan of that site just because I love how they pull people in and I love the headlines. And so give advice to celebrities. It could be marriage advice. It could be relationship advice. It could be fashion advice. It could be advice for their kids. A lot of them have, problem kids. And just, think of what your area of expertise is and find a celebrity who you can tie into.
Sure. And then the other thing is that tying that in is also creating that subject line or that hook title to hook them on the other side. So let's go back to Kim Kardashian, since you started off this segment with her. It could be, if I was Kim Kardashian's fashion expert, here's how I'd show her how to cover her tush, or to enhance her tush, or something that would, number one, get their attention, maybe bring a smile to it and say, I got to open this sucker. I mean, isn't that what we're after, that we need to get our stuff opened when we're pitching?
Exactly. And I'm going to share probably the best tip that I heard last year, and the tip was from you because you're the one that told me about this tool, the Tweak Your Biz article generator.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Tweak Your Biz article generator. Just do a Google search for it, and you can type in one word, and it'll come back and give you hundreds and hundreds of compelling headlines tied to that word. And one of those headlines can be the headline on your pitch.
Exactly. And the other, and they even have a whole section on snarky stuff. And the other one that I love is that really off the wall things is Portent, PORTENT.com, and you can get some interesting things there. We're gonna take a quick break. Joan Stewart is with me. We're really talking about how to take advantage of any kind of breaking news, statistics, celebrity, bad behavior, etc., and really enhance your expertise and get your name out there. This is Judith Briles. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Is there a book in you or another? AuthorU will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, AuthorU is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join AuthorU today through its website at AuthorU.org. Follow AuthorU on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at AuthorU, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. AuthorU, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right. So, we're looking at ways that we can pitch our books, whether it's a special day of the year. I mean, we're already starting to move into summertime, and I don't know what part of the country you're living in. I'm living in one where we're still getting a bunch of rain. In fact, in Denver, Colorado, we're wondering if we've been transported to Portland, Oregon. The weather has not been nice. So is there some way that I could take advantage of it? And actually there's things how you break out of the clouds. How do you take advantage of a rainstorm? Anything that maybe could tie into your expertise just to get the attention, because everyone is already talking about it. You might as well just help them along. Joan, any thoughts there?
Sure. And here's a great weather-related tip. Keep your local meteorologist in mind, your TV meteorologist. These people are at the sort of the bottom of the ladder in terms of importance at TV stations. And if you've got anything that can tie into the weather, pitch them. Just call them and tell them what you've got going on. Sometimes they'll do just a little, 10-second blurb or 20-second blurb at the end of the newscast if they need filler. And why shouldn't that be you?
That's a fabulous idea, because they always do a little chit-chat. And in fact, when I watch the news, I see them doing things like, all of a sudden you'll see a picture that some local person sent in. Look at this rainbow. All of a sudden there's 50. We had a day not too long ago. We had double and triple rainbows here. I mean, they were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Judith, this would be perfect for somebody who's done a photo book, a book of photos.
Mm-hmm.
What better way to get publicity for your book than to pitch a picture from your photo book or a picture you just took from your backyard, and then tell the meteorologist that you've done a book on photos.
And maybe offer to even, everyone, send them. I know a lot of authors, they resist sending free books. Please stop that. That's part of your marketing efforts.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go on. Can we go on to the next one, which is national statistics? I found it. I was looking around the internet this morning, just sort of, spending some time seeing what's out there, and I came across an incredible story out of Houston, an incredible statistic. This is an English teacher in Houston who's being arrested for having sex with, I think, a 14-year-old boy. She's pregnant, or she was pregnant, with his baby. And she has since had an abortion. So that got, I'm seeing more and more of these stories. And in most cases, it's women teachers having sex with young boys. So I went online just to see what I could find. I came across a story that said in 2014 alone, there were 780 81 reported cases of teachers and other school employees accused or convicted of sexual relationships with students. That blew me away. So think of all the types of authors who can comment on that. Even if and they're talking about one of the reasons this is happening is because social media makes it so easy in texting for teachers to communicate with students and for students to communicate with teachers. It's a great way for them to start the relationship. So parents, should you be spying on your kid's telephone and text messages? Should you be? If I were a parent, you can bet I would be. And I think that's a great topic for authors maybe who write about privacy issues, who write about parenting issues, who are social media experts. Why is this happening? I love that story.
And then there's another side. If you're a communication expert, that if that's your forte, you could take it a step where how do you communicate with? I mean, do you do it on the sly and never tell them, or are you up front and saying, I'm keeping an eye on you? What is the best strategy to use? What is the phraseology to use? That kind of thing.
Exactly. So national statistics also look to places like the Center for Disease Control. If you're in the health area, the U.S. Census Bureau is always coming out with statistics, and even Canada has its own statistics agency or bureau. It's a national statistical agency called Statistics Canada, and they deal with all kinds of stats: crime, justice, income, manufacturing, population, ethnic diversity, all kinds of stats. Also, keep your eyes open for university studies. We're always reading about those studies as well. So piggyback off national stats.
You know, Joan, last year I did the keynote for a digital digital conference. And one of the other speakers, boy, I just sat straight up to, because he was from CU and they had just done a study. I have never seen this blasted out, but they did a study of their students of which they would rather have: books, print books, or the electronic books. Overwhelmingly, they were stunned with the response. They'd rather have the print texts. You know why? Because they are pinged all the time and they don't stay focused. But where you have McGraw-Hill and Addison Wesley and these guys all going towards the electronic deal to push the textbooks into that area, no one wanted to hear it. I mean, I was fascinated with that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Texting while driving. That's another one I thought of when you said pinging. That's another great topic. Keep your eyes open for accidents in your community caused by texting. Perfect opportunity for you to jump in. Next one, idea number 4. Tie into the first day of winter, spring, summer, and fall. This is a perfect opportunity because there's the media sort of has to report on them. So some ideas for the first day of summer. Summer will be with us in a couple of weeks, even though you may not think so in Denver.
Well, I'm hoping. I'm hoping. I love summer solstice. I can hardly wait for it. But right now I'm in turtleneck and sweats today.
Yeah. Oh, poor you. First day of summer, cookbook authors, think food safety during the summertime. Beauty experts, how to keep your skin safe in the sun. Romance experts, how about talking about summer flings? Your summer fling. Think favorite drinks, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. And how about how to keep cool without air conditioning? And just any of these, summer-related things that tie into your topic, make it work for you. Here's another one. This is number 5. Talk about a mistake you made as an author or a business person and what you learned from it. This kind of a story is perfect for business journals. And you don't necessarily have to have a business-related book to make it work for you. And you see all kinds of famous, important influencers talking about big mistakes they made at one time. And most successful people will tell you that when you make a mistake, the faster you can rebound from it and pick yourself up and brush yourself off and move on, the more successful you're going to be. And media outlets love to share with people ways that they can solve problems or rebound from their mistakes. So as an author, what mistakes have you made? As a business person, what mistakes have you made? And it could be something as simple as taking on too much of the grunt work yourself as a business owner early on without doling it out to somebody like a virtual assistant. Okay, that could be.
And there's also something else too, how making a major boo-boo or mistake led to your biggest opportunity, where
Perfect.
you can turn it into a success. Because every entrepreneur I know will tell you that they have made more than their share of screw-ups, and that's really what's made them successful.
Ready to go on to number 6?
Yep.
I like this one, and maybe you can throw in some of your own ideas on this because you work with so many authors. How you are writing your book. Any unusual ways that you are writing it. And I'll give you a good example, and you've heard me talk about this one before, Judith. Chris Kennedy is a sci-fi novelist, and he has a whole series of sci-fi books, and he kept running out of names for these sci-fi characters. You couldn't think of names. So he went onto his Facebook community, and he said, I'm writing this in my next book in the series. If you would like me to name one of my characters after you, please let me know. And all you have to do is just let me know. And all these people, all of his fans who had read his books before said, I want a character named after me. He even had, I think it was a priest or a bishop or somebody who was a big fan, and he ended up naming, I think it was a chaplain in his book after this real life priest. And that's just sort of it's just a fun way. Can you think of any other examples from your own client base of interesting ways?
Absolutely. I mean, for mine, I was really stuck. I had one of my big books, which was called Woman to Woman from Sabotage to Support. Back in 1987, I had interviewed so many people for this book, and we changed everybody's name. I was out of names, Joan. I was literally out of names. Well, one of my secretaries, I had two, was a huge fan of the soap opera All My Children. And Louis, faithfully at noon, everything stopped. And Louis would rush home to watch the episode. This is before VCRs and all those things. And she would watch that show because she couldn't miss it. So I just said, oh, for God's sakes, it's going back and forth. I brought in a little TV and we put him in the lunchroom. All right. So I was in there watching it, and I ended up, we have one chapter called the All My Children chapter. I have all the names from all the female characters in that one chapter. I was just exhausted from, the names. So Erica, Brianna, all those names showed up in that chapter, which was a hoot. Another thing in pulling names together is that I would do this thing, and I love Chris Kennedy's idea. But this is what I've recommended for people when they're doing crowdfunding is for a price, you can do a name, and that you can, that, but if you want to be a villain, that has a much higher price on it. Much higher price, Joan. If you want to be a naughty person, you're going to have to step up to the plate.
I love your idea. Yeah.
And people will jump in on that. And then another thing authors can do, this is off the side of publicity, but it leads into the publicity because you're talking about the whole envelope of creating these super fans. plans, is that you get them involved because that's how buzz really can get going. When all of a sudden their names are out there, and this is a very smart ploy that Chris did, that all of a sudden he's got these names of all these people who love him and his work, that they're all of a sudden sprinkled through because, listen, authors do run out of names. There's creation. I mean, there's certain programs that'll do you combinations and you can do, some things like that. But you start racking your brain, so you do want to get help where
really
you
cool
can.
Part. Here's the really cool part. When he launches this book, how many of those people whose names are in that book do you think are going to be sharing that information with their friends, followers, and fans?
Not only will they share it, they will buy it. Okay, and on that we're going to take a quick break because it's brilliant to do that, and it's the whole way you seed your success. And certainly publicity and these 6 tips that Joan's already gone through are critical to your component, and they're easy peasy. And guess what? They're all free. All you have to do is open your eyes and your ears and pay attention. This is AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand, and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers, creating beautiful and well-made books. We're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right. We want to remind you that, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Joan will be speaking at the AuthorU Extravaganza, and she also will be featured along with several other awesome authors and experts. These are all experts that are at the AuthorU Extravaganza September 15th through 17th, as well as the Publishing at Sea conferences that we're going to be doing, and that you can find information on the extravaganza at AuthorU.org. And for the Publishing at Sea, it's publishingatsea.com. We have 2 amazing weeks. One is June 15th to the 21st, and that is really designed for the aspiring author, the newbie. And then the second week is where we're going all kinds of different ways for the more achieving, and certainly the developing fits into here, but it's really for the people who are not just putting their toe in, because I'm going to tell you, you'll be overwhelmed. We give so much information. Isn't that true, Joan? Don't we give a lot of information?
Yeah, but I have to share something with you about why I go to these events. Yeah, it's fun to speak, and it's fun to get in front of an audience, and yeah, it's fun to do a working vacation for a week in the Caribbean. But you know why I really go? I have learned more about the book publishing industry at the extravaganza and at the Publishing at Sea cruises than any other event that I have ever attended. And I'm the reason that I know as much as I do about publishing, which is a sliver of what you know, is because I go to these events and I need to learn about book covers. Okay, I need to know about print on demand. All these. I need to learn about Amazon, and in the confusing world of Amazon, and all of this. And I pick up all this stuff at these 2 events, and I'm a speaker.
It is critical. It is critical. And I should mention I have one other event, and it's actually later this month. My annual Judith Briles Book Publishing Unplugged with is just 3 days with me. Nobody else, and it's like having me. I keep it very small, so you get one-on-one coaching throughout it. So I intimately know your books and your work. But it's an amazing event, and you can find information on that one at thebookshepherd.com. So, Joan, let's just you've got your laundry list of things that you are going through. So using names is a smart thing to do to quarterback on any kind of breaking news. There's just variations. You just have to open up your mind and be a little bit creative on that.
And also, these kinds of how I'm writing my book types of things, these make great guest blog posts at high-traffic blogs. Judith, you're blogging, for example, over at Joel Friedlander's blog. Are you blogging monthly over there?
Yes. Monthly, I think we do. Yeah.
Right. And some other, publishing experts have big high-traffic blogs. And it's a great way, to get in front of other authors, too, to give them advice, too. So keep that in mind. Okay, number 7. This is an often forgotten publicity outlet, and it is your college alumni magazine. And the best way to get into that magazine is to be a big famous author, but most of us are not big famous authors. So the second best way to get into it is to explain how the college or university you attended helped you become what you are today. Okay? These alumni magazines are all about feel-good success stories of people who have graduated from the university or interesting things that are going on there now. For example, did you maybe take a course in creative writing in your sophomore year that you did absolutely nothing with for 2 decades because you went into the corporate world, but you decided to hang up the corporate job after 15 or 20 years, and you still had that burning ember of a desire inside of you to write a book, and it was that creative writing course that made that little ember stay in your brain, and then you burst forth with a great novel or your first book or whatever. That's a great story for an alumni publication. Where you may be a leader in your sorority or fraternity, and that being a leader there taught you a lot about leadership, and you've written a leadership book based on what you learned in college.
Mm-hmm. You know, I just had a variation for it's always interesting. I don't remember if our last board meeting, and I will, disclosure, Joan sits on the board of AuthorU.org, and one of the participants said, younger board member says, well, we need more young people, and I said, look around at the average author. And that really you just opened up a window to me, because that one of my bugaboos is when I come across the 23-year-old who is doing life coaching, which cracks me up. I mean, that's like an oxymoron to me.
Exactly.
But that a pitch would be to the AARP. And when you look at the authors, especially in the nonfiction arena, a lot of these authors don't start really in the nonfiction area, really start thinking about a book until they're almost, unless it's for a lead generator to support their career and they're out speaking and they're doing stuff, that they really come back with their wisdom post 50. And when I look at a lot of the, the conferences I go to, there are a lot of people who are silver-haired there.
Yeah, I agree.
That are ready to come on. So one of the things that I would think about is a pitch, and I love the idea of pitching your college alumni. And I'm thinking, I actually wrote that down for me to do, because I've never gone back to tell them how my dissertation, when I earned my doctorate, led to 5 books after it, plus multi-millions of dollars in speaking and book sales over a 30-year career.
Oh, perfect.
And,
see, that's perfect.
It's perfect. It's perfect. And so, those are the kind of things you don't think about. So you've got to tweak and take advantage of. With the AARP AARP has a very widely read magazine. Let me tell you, you can tap into your expertise, on that and let them do it. But you could start it with how, how, because you are in AARP land, for example, for those listeners who are the post 50, because AARP starts really romancing you when you kiss that 50th birthday, it seems to me. But how that you have shared your expertise as an expert and created this book. I mean, you never know. One of the AuthorU members pitched AuthorU and started writing a monthly blog for them based on a book that she did about baby bloomers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's just a thought. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one. Number 8. You ready for number 8?
I am.
Look at all the different ways that you can promote your expertise on the speaking circuit, and I'm not talking about the ones we all think about, the Rotary clubs, the Chamber of Commerce, the dinners, all of those. I'm talking about really unusual ones. For example, if you're targeting boomers, some of these big retirement communities bring in speakers regularly. They have
absolutely
huge audiences of old people who don't have anything to do all day, or maybe they're so active that they want to take one day out of the week where they can just sit and sort of relax and listen to a speaker. There's an author, Lynn Weiss-Sneed, and I can't remember what kind of a book she wrote, but I found her online, and she lives in Tucson, and I found this online. She says, here in Tucson, we have 2 major retirement communities. Both have libraries, each supported by the Friends of the Library. 2 friends from one of the communities attended a presentation that my co-author and I did at our local library. After the talk, they asked us if we would speak at their annual luncheon. Attendance, 300 readers.
Perfect. And another person who has done, speaking of these kind of communities, is Suzanne Blankenship, who wrote a book called How to Take Care of Old People Without Losing Your Marbles. And it's a brand new book. And, she's originally from Texas, so you've got that Southern humor in here, and she has got it. And I mean, she goes literally, when she went off for a holiday in Ireland, she was gone for a month. She told all the old people in her life, and these people are 90, that none of them could die. None of them could die this next month. She wasn't coming back. So if they wanted her there, they had to wait. And they did. But that she has really promoted to that retirement community, as well as she's gone into from the assisted living to a variety of areas. And they are bringing her in as an expert speaker, buying books, not so much for the residents, for the families of the residents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Also think associations. I can't remember the name of the author, but she was with us on one of the cruises. She wrote the book on autism.
Oh, Pamela Weaver Bryson.
Yes, Pamela Weaver Bryson.
Yeah, living with autism day by day.
Right. Pitch associations, like there's a National Autism Association. If you're an attorney, pitch bar associations on any books about legal issues. I mean, even if they're fun fiction books, maybe fiction mysteries about attorneys or something, think associations. What about good crime thrillers? What about police associations and law enforcement associations for crime thrillers? You know, you sort of have to think of other groups that you wouldn't normally think of. Don't keep going to the same one. I mentioned this one in my newsletter on Saturday. National Public Radio here in the States has, I believe, 35 podcasts, and they have taken off like crazy. And I had a link in my newsletter on Saturday where you can find all 35 podcasts of the most popular ones, and I think NPR podcasts, even anybody's podcast, like this one is perfect for somebody like me because authors constitute my target market, and you have how many downloads a month for your podcast?
Oh, we have almost 300,000. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So this is fabulous exposure.
But you know, here's what's interesting and this goes back to if you're going to be pitching a podcast, please, everyone, would you listen to the podcast to see if you're a fit, for God's sakes? Mm-hmm. Because I have authors pitching me all the time. And if you would listen to my podcast, and what we do here at AuthorU-Your Guide to Book Publishing is I have people like Joan on as experts to make your books better, to make you shine, to make that. I don't do one-on-one interviews with authors. So, but if you're an expert in publishing, in book creation, in book promotion, book fill in the blank, absolutely connect with me. All right. So with that, Joan, we're going to come back for your last two after this next break. And it's hard to believe this time goes so quickly, but it always does with Joan. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems, you want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher, or by a publishing service provider, or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
One of the most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level, and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so Joan Stewart is with us, the publicityhound.com. If you're not subscribing to her blog, please do it. And if you're not subscribing to my blog on the Book Shepherd, please do it. And that we are looking at these. We've gone through actually 8 of the 10 ways to pitch yourself, and we have time. We're going to give you a bonus. But Joan, let's jump into number 9.
This is a really good one, and it's one that, and it's sort of similar to the gorilla one, and it is taking a stand on a controversial issue.
I love that idea.
There are a lot of people on each side of the issue, okay? And I'll rattle off a couple of the biggest ones. Legalizing pot is a huge one. You know this because you live in Denver. And Colorado just legalized pot.
Yes, the Mile High City.
The Mile High City, right. Immunizing children, okay? That's a big one, although there are more parents on the side of pro-immunizing against anti. How about spanking kids? That's a good one. National health care is a really good one. How about building a wall? Any border issues is a really good one right now, especially with the presidential election and Trump. How about organic? Is organic really worth it? To buy organic lettuce and organic apples and all of that. Any controversial issues. And I get pushback on this from people who say, I never want to find myself in the middle of a controversial issue because people might not like me and I don't want to offend anybody. As I said, if that's how you feel, fine. Would you please step aside? Because there's a whole long line of people behind you who would love to get publicity by taking a strong stand on a controversial issue. Along those same lines, you can also be a contrarian. If everybody, for example, let's say everybody's talking about New Year's resolutions to make in late December, okay, you may be a contrarian who comes along and says, let's say you may be a therapist, and you may say, you know what, January 1st is the worst time of the year to make New Year's resolutions. You're tired, you're fat, you're beat, you have no energy left, you're broke, you got credit card bills piling up, that's the last time to think about New Year's resolutions. And there was a contrarian, I think it was a therapist or a psychiatrist, who said that, this was about 10 years ago, I saw his name everywhere because he was a contrarian. So think controversy, think contrarian. And this 10th one, this is a really good one for fiction authors because, as you know, fiction authors really struggle. Try to get as much publicity as you possibly can in the town where your book takes place. Get on radio stations, get on TV stations, talk in the community. Tell people about their own community through the eyes of your book. I think that would be really interesting. How much research did you do on their community? Are there any fun characters who you invented in your book? I think you could have a blast with that. And again, it's publicity just in one community, but I'll bet you'd get a lot of book sales.
Oh, and I have something to add on that. I was at a conference down in Texas, where I'm learning new things, and I came across this very cool free app, and it ties in exactly with what you just said, and it's called Squirrel, SQ, as in quotient, SQUIRL.co, not com, it's co, squirrel.co. And here's what it does. It allows you to take, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a drugstore, whether it's just a little town, whether it's the river running through it, you fill in the blank, you are able to pinpoint the locale on this app, and they're aggressively going to start rolling it out, that people who are interested in study, for example, the Mississippi River, can go on and they will see all these books that write about the Mississippi River, and it'll ID you in your title. How cool is that, Joan?
That's very cool. So what it does is it brings to you a list of books that already have been written on your topic.
It brings to you, the visitor to the. They can go on to Squirrel, and they're going to be publicizing it. But that, first of all, you have to register and put, what cities or places you are and all that, so you're ID'd. But the visitor then it's basically discovering book locations. So if you go in and you can find out, and I think John Grisham was so good about it. He has this little restaurant he loves down in New Orleans that he writes about all the time. And they actually have the book open to the pages where their name of their restaurant is identified in their window. I've been to it several times, and that you can put your locations in there and post it. So if people who are, that go on trips and that, and they want to find out more about the locale, they can look this up and they'll find out, oh gosh, there's 7 books that have really written about this neat little restaurant. Maybe we should get them. So
that's very cool. I may use that tip in my newsletter. I'm always on the
Well, I'm so glad to help you out, Miss Joan.
See how smart I get. I get smarter every time I do one of these podcasts with you, or go on a cruise, or come to the extravaganza.
Yeah, it'll be one of the tips I'll share on the webinar we're going to do for the cruise. But I will send you their contact information. Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Can I give you my bonus tip?
Yeah, that's your bonus tip. We're ready for it.
Okay, this ties in to what we just talked about. And it was a beautiful segue, and we didn't plan the segue, but it works. And that is to pick up the Costco magazine, and I would encourage you to become a member of Costco first and get a copy of the Costco magazine, look through it to see what kinds of articles they're writing, and then figure out how your book ties into something in their store that they sell. Okay, so if you're a parenting expert, they probably sell baby formula and baby bottles and diapers. I know they sell mattresses if you happen to be an expert on sleep deprivation or something. And if you can tie in your article to something they sell in their stores, that's a pretty good way to get into their magazine. Speaking of location, I talked to an author in, I believe it's upstate New York, who wrote a book about the Erie Canal. all the towns along the Erie Canal, and he got his book into 2 Costco stores that are near the Erie Canal. So if you have a location-specific book, pitch your local Costco store on that book. Now, the national Costco stores probably won't take it, but the local ones will, because they know they'll be able to move books.
Yeah, and the local ones do have, I've learned that they have a little leeway that they can actually come in and support something. But there's also something else to tie to that. One of our speakers who will be at the extravaganza is Dom Testa. He's an amazing guy. He has a very top-rated morning show, one of the morning radio shows here in Denver. And Dom also is a YA author and has created a very successful series that it was actually, he self-published on his own, and then Tor Books came in and picked it up. And did that, and has him all over speaking at libraries and things like in those areas when he's not on the air. But Dom, the local store, picked him up. And, he was very excited. They ordered 800 books, and any author would be doing a happy dance with an order for 800 books. And, of course, there's discounts. Costco has a policy on what they do on their markups. But they're fairly generous on that, on what they're looking at. Or let me just say the discount, and then they mark up to sell to their customers and their visitors to the store. And what Dom felt really great. He sold, in 2 weeks, 772 copies or something. He thought that was great. It wasn't good enough, Joan. You have to go in to try to get the attention of the national, if that's your game plan, and there's nothing wrong with that. You got to blow off the stock within a 2-week period of time. The sooner the better. It's got to be gone. Nothing left over. They don't like to return stuff. So get ready to work your tush off, move the books out. And you know what? If Dom hadn't realized that he was just, a couple of dozen books short of crossing over that match, I would have got out my credit card and sucked up all those books in a nanosecond.
Yeah, really. Yeah, and you would have made all the rest of us do the same thing.
Yes, I get everyone down there, and you buy a book and move those out, because it's the movement of that. But the idea of pitching to Costco, tying into a product, or there's another side of it. I don't know if you saw the story about the gal who was accepted by every Ivy League school, and she was accepted on her essay. Everything I needed to know, I learned from shopping at Costco with my mother from the time I was 3 years old.
Beautiful. I love it. That's
great. And she got it because of creativity, and she wove through the aisles, the sampling stations. And it was great. It was wonderful. So
you just got another quick one. Choose a major brand. Put a major brand product in your book. Even if you're writing fiction, you have a Harley in there in your book, and then pitch Harley Davidson when you launch the book. Maybe you can get into Harley's newsletter.
Exactly. And, so many fiction, a lot of the things we've gone through deal with a lot of people who are nonfiction writers, and fiction authors seem to go blank, saying there's no way we can get any publicity. There's no way. Mm-hmm. No. Doing these little tips like product placement, or tying it in. It's amazing what you can do. All right, Joan, we're at our last minute here. So I want to personally thank you once again. I look forward to playing with you at the extravaganza.
Oh, it's going to be fun. I am doing 2 sessions, one on how to use email to create super fans and sell more books, and then I'm going to be doing another one similar to this on how to generate story ideas for your book publicity campaign.
And there you go. All right. So everyone, go to the AuthorU.org website, get involved, sign up, become a member, for heaven's sakes, because we do a lot of freebies here. And certainly Joan's website is thepublicityhound.com. Please sign up for her blog. And my website is thebookshepherd.com. And we'll be back. Happy writing, great publishing, and here's to summer.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each week, a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take you, the author, to the next level. You'll learn tips and secrets on how to create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve book publishing success by making one very simple change in your book's journey. How to avoid the publishing predators. How to create an author and book platform that rocks. Learn how to make a living with your words and your books. Learn how to publish a book that has no regrets, and so much more. For more information, check out AuthorU.org, where authors who want to be seriously successful go. And Judith's website, thebookshepherd.com. Then join us again here next week for more. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on the Rockstar Radio Network.